It is now, January 2nd, 2025, and I'm here to rank my top 10 favorite movies of 2024 from the worst to the best. Also, I listed every single show that I watched this year over on my on my community tab, so go and check that out. Coming in at number 10, we have Hazbin Hotel. I thought that this was a very surprising show. I think that it is very funny, and I think it shows, one thing I think this show does so well is it really makes you just almost take another look at people, as in many ways the show is about redemption, and it's very funny and it's weird because this is literally a show about a girl trying to redeem literally the worst people to have ever lived in hell itself, and it is beautifully animated. It is very funny, and it's just such a unique show, and just our characters here are just all so much fun, and there's a lot of great musical numbers. It's just a very solid show. Coming in at number 9, we have Dream Productions, and even though this show is only 4 episodes, I thought it was great. It's like I said, these are like only 4 short episodes, about 30 minutes long, so only about 2 hours. But it's really, really funny. I think that Inside Out 2 was an even bigger improvement over the first Inside Out movie. And I think that this show is also just great as well, as this is all about Riley's dreams and how it's almost all like a movie. It is just a lot of fun to watch. I don't even know what these characters are even supposed to be. Like, they're not the emotions, but in Riley's head, just create the dreams like a movie, and like with the directors and the writers and the actors. And it's just so much fun. And also just seeing our other characters try to aspire to be directors within this. And they get really creative. And I think that this season has an ongoing plot that I think that was done very, very well, about Riley basically being nervous for this dance. And I thought it was really good, very surprising, and I thought it was great. Coming in 8th place, we have Hit Monkey Season 2. This show was not as good as season was not as good as season 1, but it's still a blast. And I just want more people to check out this show because it is so cool. Literally seeing a monkey kill people with a samurai sword, but it has so much emotion with it, especially in this season, as our characters, they have a lot more depth, especially between Bryce and his daughter who joins this season. And like, it's hilarious, it's great. The animation isn't the best, but I still think that it's really, really good. This time we're in New York, seeing new villains, and this one feels a lot more grander than season 1. Even though I personally preferred season 1, I still think this was a really solid season, and I just want to see more of these characters and more of this show. And it's just cool to have a Marvel show that is just as unique as this. It was a lot of fun. And coming in 7th place, we have, I don't know if it's cheating, but it's my list anyways, Invincible Season 2, Part 2. This was still a good season, but I don't think it warranted that big break. But I will say, I think that this show is still very strong. Having Angstrom Levi is a very interesting villain. And also, the stuff that they were able to do with the other characters, such as Adam Eve, I think that there was a lot of stuff to like here. Like I said, it was not as good as season 1, and I'm hoping with season 3 they don't do this long break. They better not. But it's, like I said, not as good as season 1, but it's still a solid season, and there's still a lot to like here. And coming in 6th place, we have The Boys Season 4. And I will say, I'm not as big as The Boys as a lot of other people are, and I do think that this is the weakest season. But there is still a lot to like here. Like, Anthony Starr is still just menacing as always. He is great. But I think in many ways this season feels like almost like a gap season. Like, it feels like we need to put this season here just to it's a bunch of setup. It's still good, but I don't really think it's just as strong as the previous seasons. Although, it's still on this list. It's still great, I'd say. But for me, it was just not as good as the first 3 seasons. And there were a couple plot lines that are just pointless, especially the one with Kimiko and Frenchie. Like, that whole plot line by the end was just completely pointless and stupid. But other than that, this is still a very solid season. And I'm very curious where they're going to go with season 5. I'm very excited. And coming in 5th place, we have Bad Monkey. And this is a show that quickly grew on me. I wasn't super big on the first episode, but the more I watched it, just the more fun I was having. I love Vince Vaughn, and just seeing him over in Miami in Florida with, I don't know if it's in Miami, but I know it's in Florida. And like on this like detective, this mystery show, and it's just filled with so many fun characters, and there's so this weird complex like storyline with like when we find like a severed arm in the ocean, or like how did that get there, and then we find out, oh, that's why this character is linked to this character. And it's all very complex, and Vince Vaughn has this dry sense of humor that makes him just hilarious. And like I said, in many ways, it's really just a vibe kind of show. And I feel like Apple TV lately has been putting out some very good content. I mean, of course, back in October 2023, they had Killers of the Flower Moon, one of the best movies of the year, in my opinion, my favorite. And then this show, I thought, killed it. I thought, like I said, starts slow, but I think the characters are what compel this story, because because you have such a bizarre story involving like this missing arm, and it is carried through these fun characters. This, like I said, obviously Vince Vaughn, who is just so funny. And this is just a show where, like I said, it quickly grew on me, and I want to see a season 2. I want to see these characters again. I'm just very curious, like, what else are they gonna do? It was a very surprising show. I thought it was just a very fun show. And coming in fourth place, we have Shogun. And what can I say? I mean, this show was just incredible in terms of like technical, like whether it's like costume design, set design. I would say like this is like basically a masterpiece. And even the storytelling, like it is phenomenal. It basically dominated the Emmys last year, and 100% deserved, because this show is incredible. Many people have compared this to basically a Japanese Game of Thrones, but I have not watched Game of Thrones. But from everything I've heard about it, like, yes, it is. And it is gorgeous. And many people may go into the show thinking, is this cool samurai show? That's not what this is. In many ways, it's this Japanese political drama about these ancient Japanese politics with these foreigners. And it's just so much just complexity with their emperors and, of course, their shogun. And there's just so much little minute details that are just make this show so fascinating and incredible. And it's just a show where like it had these 10 episodes that are all an hour long, but it's just so fascinating to watch, and these characters are just so great. Like I said, it's just a fantastic show. And although it's only going to be a limited series, I mean, I think they're making a season 2, and I don't really know where they're going to go with season 2, but I'm pretty hyped. Yeah, this show is incredible. This is going to be many people's number 1 favorite show of last year, and I can see why. And coming in number 3, we have X-Men 97. I mean, this show just blew me away in every single way. And it basically makes me realize, like, Marvel can still be great. And this show proved it. As it's just so also nice to see more X-Men content for so long, and for them finally focus on other characters outside of just Wolverine. As Wolverine here is kind of just a background character who's really getting his time to shine. Is like characters like Rogue, Cyclops, Gambit, Jean Grey, Jubilee, like all these other characters. And Wolverine is still great and awesome, but I just love how he's stepping back. And this show, it basically nails like what the X-Men really meant about being this minority group. And it is just, I thought it was just fantastic, from its commentary to its humor to its gorgeous action and animation. I thought it was just incredible. Like I said, just the storytelling and just how emotional this show was for what is essentially just this kid's cartoon. And it's quite mature for what it is. And like I said, I thought it was fantastic. We finally just get to know the amount of depth to these characters is just what makes it so good. And coming in number 2, we have The Penguin. And this show was absolutely fantastic, just like a lot of the other shows in this. But I mean, many people just compare this to another show I have not seen, The Sopranos, but with the Penguin. And yes, this is very much just a mob show, but it's a great one, and it's got just the vibes of this show. Like, you hate Penguin. And that's what I love so much about the show. Like, our main character is a villain, and he really acts like he is a terrible person, but he is so fascinating. Just the intricacies of seeing Gotham, of him trying to take over Gotham, or Sophia Falcone. It's just so fascinating, and it makes me even that much more excited for the Batman 2. Part 2. It was fantastic. In coming in at number 1, we have Fallout. I mean, this was just a show that I just had so much fun with. And I love how this show, for as dark as the subject matter itself is, it just has this hopeless optimism that I loved about it. And it's just a lot of fun. It's very funny. And our main lead, Lucy McLean, Ella Purnell, fantastic. This show would not work without her. She is great. I love this show. Definitely my favorite show of the year. It was great. So tell me, what are your top 10 favorite shows of the year? Leave them in the comments below, like and subscribe.